You have to be careful about making a weird show or watching a weird show.
Hello, this is Greg Smalley on Pod 366, a Weird Movies podcast. Joined today, as I frequently am, by the rakish Giles Edwards.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're well.
Very rakish. And later today, we will be joined by Florian Frerichs of Dream Story, aka Traumnovelle, the new movie based on the same source material as Eyes Wide Shut. And we'll have I just have a feeling we'll have a wonderful discussion with him.
Yeah, I think we may cover a lot of ground and, get into a number of interesting details about it.
Okay. First, we have some very short news on new releases, and we're also going to discuss the upcoming Slamdance Film Festival. But the very first thing is I need to get up the stills, which I don't have ready, for the 3 physical media releases we have.
Well, I'm guessing they've seen, actually, maybe all of them? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because, these are physical media releases of things we've talked about.
No, there's one we haven't talked about.
Oh, is there? Oh, uh-oh.
One. Let me get that up. Only 3 topics. Now, share and are they up?
I see 3 things. I must have clicked some wrong buttons, so I'll wing it, but I'm familiar with all that. So
You see these 3
I see those 3 things.
Okay. Let's start with this one very quickly. Would you like to discuss this?
Oh, I'm always happy to discuss Steelbook releases, Greg. This is a beautiful Blu-ray release. Can't quite tell from the spine or front whether or not there might be some UH. Oh, there it is. Yep, 3-disc set, UHD included. So this is for super precise picture. We have it's a nighttime scene. In the distance we can see some gentle sloping cliffs covered with verdure. There's a moon along the horizon, hazy blue, dark gray skyscape, and in the foreground, what do we see? We see on our right in the foreground, looking at us, a gentleman in a very, very high collared traveling garment. It buttons up to cover the base of his nose, so we just see some determined eyes below a tricorn hat staring straight into us. And just over this gentleman's shoulder is compared to this front man, definitely of a foreign nationality, but similar garb, whereas the man in front is wearing a brown traveling garment buttoned up over his nose. This other fellow is wearing a black one with a faded black tricorn hat, and this individual is also looking at us, and these 2 ominously clad gentlemen are the main characters of this particular period piece.
Yes, and it is a period piece. It's called Brotherhood of the Wolf by Christoph Gans, a movie you reviewed very long ago, Giles.
Yeah, that does bring me back. And I think Roger Ebert described it best as it feels like an explosion at the genre factory.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's a period piece, an action piece. There's some kung fu in there, horror, mystery. That's pretty much all of it, isn't it?
I guess maybe you could probably a little court intrigue going in there. It does take place in mid-18th century France. The story begins just as the revolution is going on, and we immediately zap back to the memoirs of a beleaguered marquis looking over a strange incident in, where does this take? Oh, Gévaudan in 1764, which, if you're remotely French, you probably know what we're talking about here.
There's a mysterious series of killings going on in the countryside. A fun, very fun movie. Not really a super weird movie, but
No.
it's weird adjacent, I guess, because of the sort of craziness of the plot and all the elements that Gans brings in. So now in a Steelbook, nothing new that we know of in this Steelbook. It is a Amazon exclusive Steelbook at this point, but this has already been released on 4K UHD, and we don't expect to see anything new, or I don't expect to see anything new on this particular edition, aside from the collectible Steelbook format. So that's Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Brotherhood of the Wolf would look very fine on your shelf there in its steel book.
Very simple one. Now this, why not describe some of these?
Sure. This is not steelbook, but you know, you can't have everything. This is the back of what looks like a Blu-ray probably, but possibly just DVD case, considering I know what I know about this movie. And we got some blurbs about it, some remarks from eminent people from Metro and Dread Central, advertising two special features that accompany the film, but let's look at these pictures here. On the top, we've got a sort of montage bar of picture with some cliffside, some fiery overtones, some people nailed up on sticks in the background. In the foreground of those sticks are two, excuse me, I'm going to say peasant-looking individuals in very simple garments from many, many, many years ago, and kind of looming over those two incongruously large is a head of one of the main characters there. A little scraggly, certainly bearded, very bronzed from the sun, which makes sense considering the locale, and sporting one of those concerned expressions that I believe the actor in question can just sort of summon on demand. And below that sort of combination of images is another band of, looks like three images, one of which is a very slender individual, very sinewy, in an odd, ominous kind of pose with extended arms, bent at the elbows, one hand down and the other hand up in some sort of gesture. To the right of that, we see a surprised individual espying a serpent emerging from their mouth. And on the right hand, at the same size and scale, we see I believe it's the scraggly bearded fellow, staring up at the sky, howling with, I don't know, fury, confusion, despair. Maybe a
Those are all
combination.
feelings you'll feel when watching this movie.
So apparently a very accurate depiction of the array of motions of shock at a serpent and despair at what's going on.
Yes, it is the Carpenter's Son with Nicolas Cage as Joseph in some of the strangest casting you'll ever see. Also, FKA Twigs as Mary, and this is the gimmicky Jesus horror movie, which is suggested by the Gnostic Gospels, but doesn't actually follow any of the Gnostic Gospels. Is just totally made up out of whole cloth about the devil tempting teenage Jesus, which I don't know why it would even bother then coming back when Jesus is in his 30s and tempting him again. But, you know, he does. It's really bad. I thought. I believe L. Rob Hubbard was more favorable towards it than I was, but it was one of the worst movies I saw last year.
Yeah, I see a slap to the beware on that, and you're always very discerning when it comes to any of your labels. So I guess everyone you are well warned.
Yeah, well warned. The special features are interesting because they're called clay birds. There's a deleted scene animatic and shots from the deleted scene clay birds. What's interesting about that is that the clay birds are actually things that come from the Gnostic Gospels, the infancy Gospels of Jesus that were not considered canonical. but they were always thought that they would make a really good weird movie if somebody would adapt them. In this one, the clay birds, Jesus would young teenage or preteen Jesus would fashion these little clay birds and bring them to life.
Okay, so the one thing that actually was from the source material they decided
They decided
wasn't quite right.
to delete it. Yes. Um, the other thing Jesus did in the infancy gospels, which was kind of cool, was kill his schoolmates for things like bumping into him, and then he'd bring him back to life.
Oh well, that's
No harm done.
right, and yeah, and they've got a tavern side story to tell. It's like, oh, I remember it. I remember that punk killed me once.
But instead, this is just a sort of very predictable horror movie set in a period where every single actor acts with a different accent. They're supposed to be in
Well, it was a convergence of cultures from around the world at
they're
that.
Americans and
Yeah,
Brits.
the ancient Californians, I think, deserve as much recognition as
So yes, it's on only DVD from Magnolia.
okay.
For Nicolas Cage completists only. This image of the serpent is kind of cool, though, I will say. And I will say that although Cage and particularly FKA Twigs don't distinguish themselves a lot, the two teenage actors in here are actually fairly decent.
Okay, yeah, I meant to ask how our leading Jesus was.
He was not bad. Very difficult role to portray, but
Mm, especially, yeah, I imagine the tremendous weight of Nicolas Cage's presence
very
crushing down around you is another challenge. So yeah, he's okay. So that young actor's done their Nicolas Cage experience early, and
his
hopefully
name
it will.
is what was his name? Noah Jupe.
Noah Jupe.
Yeah, another guy speaking with a British accent. So, all right. So, not very recommended, but we'll put it out there for the curious and the masochistic. Okay, Giles, how about this one?
This is a Blu-ray disc,
Oh,
certainly, as told to us at the very top of this image. This is one of those. Oh, it went away. I see a whole bunch of.
did it go away?
Yeah, I can now see
You can see all my
files,
tabs.
all your tabs there. Well, anyway, I remember it enough.
Hold
It's
on.
one of those
Can you see it
explosion
now?
style. There we go. One of those explosion style poster looking covers here, where I think it was. So we're looking at a bit over a dozen characters, all of them looking like, shall we say, a bit of a heightened reality feeling going on here. There's a young woman in a many-colored fur coat thing. There's a fella up in the left-hand corner with some goggle shades and dyed blonde hair. Any number of firearms lurking around the images here. And I guess the most serious, believable looking character kind of dominates just above the title. A youngish fellow with mustache and small beard, a shock of black hair, and I'll say, dispassionate expression on his face as he points a gun just over our right shoulder as we're looking at him. Practically seems like he might be resting the firearm on the title line.
Yes, and there's a title to that.
Yes, Shark Skin Man and Peach Hip Girl. And I imagine the Peach Hip Girl is the young woman in the fur coat thing.
And I did you see the trailer for this, Giles?
I did not. I was running a little late, and then also opened the wrong bunch of tabs for this. So the only thing I know about this movie is from the Blu-ray cover.
Okay. Um, we do not know very much about this as well. It's from Discotheque, so it is a fairly bare bones uh, presentation. I'm sorry, I was getting up some more information about.
Okay, so a film from Katsuhito Ishii. Owing money to a bizarre group of gangsters, a thief goes on the run with a woman who is eluding her uncle, is the plot line from IMDb.
And it's stars Tadanobu Asano as the gentleman with the dispassionate expression pointing the gun at the viewer, who you may remember from, gosh, what was it called? Surprise Style 7? Survive Style 7. Survive Style 7 is the movie. It is directed by
Oh, yes.
Katsuhito Ishii, who was also the director. Well, he wasn't the director. He was the director, a writer on Funky Forest, First Contact, and The Taste of Tea, two movies which made our certified weird list. He is director of a lot of things, including one of the segments, or one of the three directors involved in Funky Forest, and he did their direct Taste of Tea too.
Yeah, did an
Earlier-
animation Kill Bill.
Yeah, he was in. Yes, he was in those. Did not direct, obviously, Kill Bill, but so he has a good a provenance there.
Yeah.
This is his second feature, I think.
Yep. Yep.
Second feature film. It's more of a Yakuza thing. It's described as having a lot of bizarre characters in it. And if Giles had seen the trailer, he would agree that there were indeed a lot of bizarre characters in it. How weird it is, not 100% sure, but given the writer-director, I think there's a good chance that it's at least a little unusual. From
Yeah.
1998, has a pretty good IMDb rating of 6.
And yeah, and a featured review from an IMDb contributor here. Subject line: "This movie was freaking awesome." So
There you go.
that's enthusiasm you can't fake.
Yeah, I see words like quirky, wacky, male fantasy. So who knows? You'll see. I think just because it's interesting to me, just because it's Ishii directing, I would give it a chance for sure. Never heard anything about it before this release, however.
Yeah, just checking it out on Amazon. Blu-ray is available, I guess.
Yes.
Or if you want to get the very limited DVD release from before and got $230 sitting around,
That's
another way
right.
to
You
go.
can pay 10 times more for DVD instead of Blu-ray.
Which, yeah, I suggest you'll enjoy it 10 times more if I know anything about markets and the like.
So yes, that's something called Sharkskin Man and Peach Hip Girl, available now. And that's it for the physical media releases of the year. But we do, of the week. Hope not of the year. We do have another topic to discuss, which is the Slamdance Festival, which is opening. When is it opening, Giles?
Well, it's opening, I believe, as we're recording this, so it will have just begun as you are watching or listening to this on Friday. I believe it's the 19th through something I should know because I've gotten about 3 dozen emails from Slamdance and its filmmakers. But yes, it is on this week. Well, maybe here's a website. Maybe they'll tell me.
At any rate, it's in, while Giles looks up the exact date, it is in Los Angeles and available to just about everybody online. I don't think every film they show is available online, but you can buy an online pass.
They've got an app.
Yes, a subscription to their streaming service on which they show these, along with entries from previous Slam dances.
And just got the dates here, February 19th. So as we are recording this, through the 25th.
Okay, and Giles, what you look through the list and have gotten those promotional emails. What at Slamdance would be your top pick so far?
My top pick. Well, there were two kind of standouts. Of my own volition, I'm also going to be checking out a few of the stranger-looking shorts. But yes, they
By the
have
way,
a
can you see
long.
the?
I can see a PDF.
There you go. Go on.
Um, and you are open to one of the two picks that also caught your eye. Tony Odyssey looked quite a bit odd.
Oh,
Um,
what can we tell folks about Tony Odyssey? Well,
well, I suppose maybe we can tell them, well, this text here about it from the people bringing it to us seems good enough.
sure.
Trapped in a grimy roadside bar, Tony, a young black man, works endlessly to pay off his debt to the ruthless Mr. Cassio. Cleaning, fixing, cooking. His life is a cycle of servitude and threats with no way out, until Ivy arrives, a longtime friend and turned accomplice. And they get into various escapades. There's a MacGuffin drug, there's reality shattering, there is a surreal metropolis, and a confrontation with God himself. So
And,
this mix of ingredients suggests it's definitely worth a look.
and
So
it's from Brazil. And how would you describe that image?
that image
What we didn't. I'm
is
sorry. I got to turn it back to the page.
um, oh, that's the two main characters looking at us, Gaunt and less Gaunt, Gaunt Tony and less Gaunt, friend, accomplice of his. Where
Ivy.
did her name slide? But yeah, and he's sort of shirtless with some interesting sash things. And sh yeah, this image of her, she seems to just be wearing a kind of fishnet suit.
Yes. Yes.
So
She's a pretty big boned woman wearing nothing, almost nothing but a fishnet bodysuit and something just covering, looks like just barely covering her breasts and genitals as she's acting.
and as promotional images go, that's a bold choice.
Yes. And that is called Tony Odyssey. That will be one that Giles will be looking at. What I had probably one other, maybe a
Yeah.
couple of deeper, maybes, but
Yeah, the other main contender you also I saw the trailer for Matapenki, which very grainy looking, very chaotic feeling to it. And I guess my sense of confusion was heightened by the fact that the trailer didn't have any subtitles. So there was a lot of still very interesting things going on, the nature of which I could only kind of guess at. But yeah, I see sort of toward the center of the description there, strange alcoholic brew, giving the main character superpowers that are activated every time he drinks the potion. So one of those great stories about how you become a superhuman when you're drunk. Uh,
Ricardo is a punk who spends his days drinking and going to gigs with his friends. Despite his tough exterior, he has a soft side. He cares for his grandmother, Maria Luisa, who suffers from fibromyalgia,
yeah.
and then he drinks this strange brew. So both these movies of interest have a couple of things in common. They're both from South America, because this one's from Chile and the other one's from Brazil. And they both involve characters imbibing or ingesting some sort of substance or drug and getting some having strange experiences thereafter.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely both trailers suggested very lively experiences, so I am looking forward to each of these. There's a very outside one that is probably more quirky and heartwarming than weird, but I may
Before you
check
go
out.
on, I just want to say
Yeah.
one more thing about Matapanki, which I assume is the correct pronunciation. It's you mentioned that it was grainy black and white, and that goes through the trailer. This very, very grainy black and white, but there are also splashes of color
Yeah.
placed throughout, which are the type of color where it looks like somebody just dropped paint on the celluloid and then sent it through the optical
Yeah,
print.
definitely. Yeah, yeah, DIY feel. I just randomly clicked on the trailer to a hand holding this mystery beverage, and I can see very hand drawn, almost crayon looking, actually, purple and yellow energy lines emanating from it.
Yeah. So yes, that was those were those two. What was your next one?
Oh, very outside. I may read more before I sit down and commit to it. The Old Man and the Parrot looked possibly weird, but I'm gonna guess it's gonna be more of quirky, heartwarming. But it does involve a friend concerned about his old friend's soul being trapped in a parrot, which,
Yes, and I agree with you on that one as well. It's a sort of a long shot, but possible and probably more quirky than weird. I did see I didn't send it to you, but I did find a trailer for that one later, and the parrot is stuffed. So
oh, okay, so it's a dead parrot.
we, we could do a Monty Python sketch. Yes, I don't remember how the parrot sketch goes. He shuffled off this mortal
The
coil.
coil,
Deceased.
pining for the funeral.
Deceased
Yeah, what?
to be. So that's his parrot. The Old Man and the Parrot, that one. And that one also, that one's from the USA, but it's in both Spanish and English. So there's kind of a Latino feel to the entries this year,
Yeah.
which is probably pretty good for Slamdance. It's an area where not a lot of people are exploring low budget movies from South America in particular. So that gives them something that they can do that other people aren't doing. And Slamdance, we find like usually one good movie there per year, I would say. One good weird movie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've certainly seen, yeah, a number of good movies, but yeah, typically one weird, and it's always I feel it's always worth it for us to check it out because the weird ones from there, at least with me, resonated. Certainly, Man Under Table still stands as one of the great micro finds.
Yes, and these are all very low budget movies, all micro budgeted movies. They're below the level of Sundance movies in terms of budget.
I suspect I've frozen.
You seem to be okay, but at any rate, I'll just say one other thing about Slamdance. There is a little bit of a trouble covering them because there's no guarantee that these will get picked up for distribution anywhere. And we have in the past found good movies like that movie about the giant head whose
Oh
name
yeah, In the Mouth.
in the mouth, which have been featured on our site, but then did not get picked up for distribution, and you can't see. So that's not good. But other than that, as I say, there's usually one good one, and there is a chance that they will get picked up. So we're going to cover them. Something else we're going to cover is a movie that did get picked up for distribution and is actually out right now, and that's Dream Story or Traumnovelle from
Yeah,
Florian Frerichs, who will join us in just a moment. As a
that's
matter of
right.
fact, if you don't have anything else to say, Giles, why don't we?
Well, no, I mean, since we got, who knows how long that interview may take? It might take all our time, but I guess now I'll do our plug to like, subscribe, give to friends, tell people about 366, buy our book, and certainly stay tuned for a fun little chat about a sexy night out on the town.
Okay, and a movie too. Uh,
Right, right.
so we will be back in a second. Of course, no time will pass for you. Bye bye, and see you immediately. Hello, and we're back with Florian Frerichs, director of Dream Story, and Dream Story now available in the United States on video on demand. I will briefly describe the plot for you. It's about a married man, a doctor, who, upon hearing his wife confess of an attraction to a mysterious stranger, importantly unacted upon, goes out into the night where he faces numerous sexual temptations, culminating in a visit to a masked orgy among the elites. And if that sounds familiar, it's because it's an adaptation of a novel by Arthur Schnitzler, which has been adapted for movies many times, but very famously adapted by Stanley Kubrick as Eyes Wide Shut. And so with that background, that obviously leads us to the first question, which I'm sure you've been asked many times before, which is that given that this has been adapted previously and fairly successfully, what made you want to adapt the story again, and what new spin did you hope to bring to the story?
Well, thank you for your question, and thanks for having me on your podcast. Well, actually, I was at the film festival in Budapest promoting my first feature film called The Last Supper, Das letzte Mal, which is about a Jewish German family on the day that Hitler became the Chancellor of Germany, who just want to have dinner together, a big family dinner. And then the news break that actually Hitler has taken over the power in Germany. And during that stay at the festival, I read Arthur Schnitzler's dream story, Traumnovelle. And only then I realized, oh my God, this is what Eyes Wide Shut is actually based on.
Mhm.
And I read it with great enthusiasm, and I thought like, wow, there are so many takes in that book, so many or so much more to discover, which Kubrick hasn't even touched, that I felt like, well, this is public domain. Why don't we give it our own spin? And to me, it felt much more like a genre piece when I read the novel, and I tried to bring that genre feeling into our film. It's actually a big compliment that I got from Larry Kardish, who said, well, it feels like John Carpenter had made a remake of a Stanley Kubrick film.
That is a nice compliment. Giles, do you have a question? We're going to alternate asking questions probably. So.
Yeah, I actually just watched this within the past 24 hours, so it's pretty fresh in my mind, and it does have a very dreamlike feel. Certainly helps that it takes place pretty much overnight. It's like a span of 24 hours. Is that hewing, closely to the source there? And there was, I have a number of sort of like little questions, but there's one point which I think is important, is we have our character, we have our doctor who seems certainly a good father and at least trying to be a good guy, and he's doing this stuff and we endure along with him. But there's one point where he talks to us directly. And I'm curious, is that one of your flourishes? Is that in the book? Is there suddenly a fourth wall breaking there? And why does our good doctor decide to say, you know what, I'm going to talk to the people who are watching me go through this?
Well, I actually think that he's talking to himself. And by coincidence, he's looking into the camera for that. But obviously, we did this on purpose. In the book, we have lots of inner dialogue. Lots of it, where he reflects on the things that he is experiencing. So as I didn't want to, fill the whole movie with lots of inner monologues or inner dialogues, I felt let's do it once and break the fourth wall with it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because it's an impactful little moment, and it comes sort of at a denouement of the
yeah, and it's a whole sequence. We don't even cut. And I knew I could do it with Nikolai Kinski because he can memorize text very well. He's very quick. He's a very good actor, and it only just, I think we have the second take in the film.
Well, that brings us as a good segue into the casting, and specifically Nikolai Kinski, the who has a famous grandfather. How did
Father.
Other, yeah.
oh father?
Yeah,
How
it's his dad.
how did you come to know him and cast him for this particular role?
Well, actually, I've known him for like maybe 15 years already. He was actually born in France and then went over to America as a little boy together with his father and his mom. And then 10 years after his dad died in California, he came back to Germany to live in Berlin. And that's where I met him at I think, a film premiere party. And I told him of my idea of a film about a young guy who, after a car crash, starts to believe that he is Klaus Kinski, and he starts behaving like Klaus Kinski until he gets a phone call from Werner Herzog, who wants to film the life of Kinski with him. And we never got so far to make it into a film. However, there's actually a novel which is available in the US already called They Will Claim That I Was Dead. And it's coming out in Germany this year, later in October, when it's Kinski's 100th birthday. Yeah, that's how I met Nikolai Kinski, Klaus's son.
And I just have to say, he seems like a very nice guy. He does not have the same sort of persona as his father, and I don't think anybody could, but I presume he was easy to work with and not his father, of course, being famously difficult.
No, he was great. He has the same genius as an actor, but he's a very nice guy to work with, and he really got into the role. And at some point, he told me that he is dreaming as the character while we were shooting. So he really got into it, and he's almost in every scene. So he was on set every day. It was long hours for him. He never complained. He knew his lines, which is important, and it was great fun working with him. As a matter of fact, one more thing I would like to add. Why did I do this movie?
Mhm.
I felt that in all previous adaptations of it, there were three before us. One with Karl-Heinz Böhm as a Austrian-German TV movie. Then there was a 80s Italian sex movie set in Venice. And then, of course, famously Eyes Wide Shut. And they all didn't treat the dream aspect of it as much as the novel does. Because in the novel, at some point, you're really asking yourself, like, wait a minute, is this real? Is it his dream? Or is it her dream dreaming about him? Is it a dream within a dream? And it never really gets resolved. And I tried to carry this on to our movie. So it's we try to confuse these worlds or mix up these worlds a bit more than the previous films, I think.
Okay.
That makes me think of the I guess I'll call it the set piece, the main sequence, certainly the most impactful one when he goes to the mansion, the palace on the outskirts of town that's boarded up and guarded by very well-dressed gentlemen demanding a password. There's a degree of orchestration to that, to the goings on inside, that suggests something more planned or more mystical or both than what one might typically envision as the elite orgy there. And of course, you can't talk about that scene without talking about the high priestess, as it were, the lady singer. I wonder if you might talk about both her character and the actor that you dug up for, yes, for this distinguished looking individual.
It's actually a very famous modern jazz singer called Kovac. She has a dozen of millions clicks on Spotify. She's amazing. And she's actually the ex-girlfriend of our costume designer. And, because I wanted to choreograph a dance and some singing in that scene, I obviously needed a professional singer. And she came just perfect. She was perfect for that role. Like you couldn't build her.
I can believe that.
So,
But actually, as a matter of fact, if you watch the movie a second time, look at the different hints that we have leading up to that orgy or that seance that we're doing there. Because, for example, when he goes out of the brothel, he takes out his iPod and plays a pop song. And that song is actually by Kovacs, who is the priestess. And she is singing about what is going to happen, about a sacrifice and so on, implifying or implicating that maybe all the things that he is experiencing during the night now become part of his dream reality and manifested in his deeper consciousness, and it's all like a dream reality evolving from the things that he has experienced and all culminating in that seance or that orgy.
and
So
that's
there are many little hints all over the first part of the movie.
there's another sort of hint, which is something that I don't remember being in. I hadn't watched Eyes Wide Shut in a while. I don't remember it being in there, but there was the emphasis on the Verdi opera that they're going to, which is Un ballo in maschera, which I
Yeah, the
haven't.
masked ball.
I'm not familiar with, but the other than just reading like the Wikipedia entry on it, it has several themes that are similar. There's a jealous man, a masked ball,
Exactly.
and you do see some scenes of him imagining himself in that situation on stage, right? And so why was that incorporated? Is that from the novel? And what can
No,
you?
that's actually something that we brought in because I felt it would be nice to have like a bracket around the movie. It starts with a kid asking his dad about the opera. Are we going to the opera and on Friday? And it ends with the family sitting at the opera watching the opera. And because there are so many similarities to what he has actually experienced, all the jealousy and the masked ball and all these things, it's also another implication that maybe he's dreaming and he's actually dreaming about the opera. So this is how it's all kind of intertwined together.
That was, yeah, I like that. That was a good. I assume that was in the original novel because it fits so perfectly. So it was a really good addition. Giles,
Thank you.
Giles.
Yes, yeah. I guess I'm trying to think because yeah, this is a very dreamy, very quest-oriented kind of movie. He has his first challenge that interrupts the conversation he's having with his wife about the mysterious I can't remember, was it Dutch fellow that has no lines but crops up every now and again in his way, and he's summoned to the household of a dying friend, and there's this five-ish, maybe five, maybe less minute scene that suggests a deep history between him and not so much the ailing gentleman, but the daughter. Is she? I'm hoping maybe you can tell me more about her and her circumstances because there's an entire movie or more just going on with the weird complication we see there while we're still probably in reality.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so
I think you're talking about Marianne and her deceased father, right?
yes.
Hmm.
One of the
Well, I think this is a very important scene, which is also in the book, because it states all the things that are important for the rest of the movie. Death and also his guilt, because he's a doctor, he couldn't save his patient, and sex and eroticism, because she's obviously very interested in him, and he is angry with his wife, and he's obviously, he's looking for opportunities, and he's unsure whether or not he should take the opportunities that are being offered to him. And yeah, so this is actually almost like a mission statement of the things that are about to come.
And there is even more because we see some backstory of him treating the father, and there's a scene where the father, who's obviously very ill at that point, coughs, and it appears that there's like an ambiguous possibility that he may have contracted a disease from the father, which could lead
Absolutely correct.
to him. So,
Absolutely correct. Yeah, that's in the novel. The whole time he's asking himself, like, am I gonna die? Because I think in the novel a kid coughed at him, and that was in the time before there was like good medication and vaccination or penicillin and so on. So like in the early 1900s, if you got sick, there was a good chance that you would die. And I mean, if you are dying, you don't have much to lose. So this plays a vital part in his journey. Like, maybe I do sleep with the prostitutes because I don't have anything to lose anyway.
Mhm.
That's why the father is very important in this regard.
Yeah, and he's so important. He shows up in at least two more times by my reckoning as a passerby or an incidental.
Yeah, like a ghost. He's almost like a ghost that appears to him, also implicating that he's actually in a dream reality.
I guess while we're probably going to be swinging back to the supernatural and the occult plenty, considering the subject matter here. Could you talk about constructing the ceremony that he witnesses and is eventually expelled from, and in particular the symbol for the organization in question that's behind this thing looks incredibly familiar, and I can't quite pinpoint it.
Well, to be perfectly honest, this was a last minute, not really addition, but alteration. Because originally we planned to use the Germanic symbol of the black sun,
Ah, okay.
which is a, semi-fascist symbol, because I wanted to, to imply that this is really an evil,
Mm,
almost fascist-like organization. But then in the end, we decided, well, let's not be so obvious with that. I mean, if you also look at it, where they throw him out of the car after the ceremony, they throw him out at Wannsee station.
yeah, I did see that, and I know it's got its
And
history.
you know about, yeah, it has absolutely the most terrifying and horrible history in history, because it's beautiful there. It's by the lake. You have all these rich people's houses. It's almost like Berlin's Beverly Hills. And this is where the Wannsee Conference happened, where the Nazis decided about the killing and the murdering of millions and millions of Jews. So we did, take that station on purpose. So yeah, you were asking about the symbol. So this was like a last minute alteration, and I think if it's familiar to you, I think it looks a bit like from Star Wars. But I think Star Wars also copied from Third Reich and
Uh,
from the Nazis,
there's a lot to unpack there. But I think, well, Giles, if you have another question, let me gather my thought for a second.
oh, sure. Yeah, actually, I just well, to go back to I guess the first half of my query, that's an elaborate thing that he's witnessing. He passes various rooms with stuff going on, and he gets to the center hall where at first it seems like, oh, okay, this is obviously surreal. Someone singing while there's this mystical, semi-sexual encounter thing going on. I'm curious about maybe the choreographer of that, because there's a real operatic feel to it, as I'm sure you were intending. But
Absolutely.
just maybe if you could talk a little bit about the process of setting up that cavernous dark dance.
Yeah, we actually had a very good choreographer for this scene. I can't remember her name now. It's a shame. Um, but I wanted to, shy away from the idea that this is like an elite conspiracy. We've seen that in the Kubrick movie, especially nowadays. People are talking, is this really like a hint to Jeffrey Epstein and so on? I wanted to, get back to where the book was, that this is like a surreal, you don't know what the hell is going on, horror, thriller, mystery that cannot be solved. And yeah, that's why we chose this place and why we chose this choreography. And to put it in the in the Berlin cosmos, we had all these fetish things going on behind these doors. Like I say, it's a irregular Wednesday night in Berlin.
I was going to ask about the Epstein connection, which I assumed was just a coincidence, and apparently it is. But it does give it a little bit of contemporary sort of relevance. But then I was going to also ask about so you say that there's like a Nazi tinge to this party, and I know you mentioned your debut film was set in a period of the rise of Nazism. So when Schnitzler was writing this story, do you think that did he have any foreboding of approaching fascism that comes across in the original story?
Absolutely. I absolutely think so. Because I mean, Schnitzler himself was Jewish. And even though it's never really explicitly mentioned in the book, implicitly, or he's implying that this is a Jewish couple. In the 1920s, the Jews in Germany and Austria, they were seemingly perfectly integrated, but in a way, they were not part of the high society. Officially, yes, but like not really. And Schnitzler had a very good feeling for that. He felt it. And it's implied in the book. That's actually why I chose to have a non-German couple in Berlin. He's Jewish, she's Asian, mixed race couple in Berlin. It's very contemporary, it fits, but still, they're part of the society, but somehow not. They also speak in English with each other. They're foreigners. They don't know what the hell is really going on behind closed doors in Berlin high society. So I really tried to take that from the book also, because in the other films it has not been really an issue.
Okay, Giles.
Yeah, I think I sort of pinpointed some familiarity, and I couldn't say how intentional, but getting back to Herzog, there was a 2001 movie he did called Invincible, which I don't know if you've seen that or not, but it concerns a Nazi occult society. Lead actor in it is Tim Roth, and he has his group there, and just looking.
Oh yeah, that film. I just looked it up. Yeah, I've seen it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was trying to think where I'd seen these overtones before, because there's also some operatic performance stuff going on in that, and secret Judaism going on with the lead character there. So I was just tying up that chord in my mind. Now this array of colorful characters, I imagine there are some part in the original story. Obviously, you've made an adaptation, and another part since you were the main screenplay writer, from my understanding. These affable BDSM people. Can you tell me a little bit about them and how you drew them into your take on this story?
So I think most of them are the real deal, and it was quite easy getting them into our movie. We just, asked the right people do you know more people like you? And all of a sudden, there were like 50 people lining up, and we actually hired a bus and all get them to our location, and they were all having fun. They did it for a slice of pizza and some and some alcohol. We didn't really pay them, and we all had a great time. And I don't know what happened after we were finished.
Well, yeah, obviously that's their business more than anyone. So is that delightful shop that we have a couple scenes in, both the night of and the morning after. I presume that's a real retail establishment.
Yes, it is. And believe it or not, it is the same establishment as the club. In the beginning we have the club scene with the two
Okay.
girls and so on. That's actually right next door. And it used to be David Bowie's and Iggy Pop's favorite club in Berlin when they were still living in Schöneberg in the 70s. And the club still actually exists. Now it's a gay club. And we established our little fetish club there. They were very nice to let us shoot there.
That's lovely.
And as a matter of fact, the guy, who's playing the shop owner, Gibi there, is Detlef Buck, a very famous German director. He made some of the most successful kids movies here and has like hundreds of credits onto his name. Great guy.
Made his name in kids movies. This is great. I like that. I like when that pans out like that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is a long and storied looking career, both as director and actor. Very cool.
Yeah, Detlef Buck, great guy. And the only direction that he needed was add action, and then he totally flipped, and was perfect for that role, playing that crazy shop owner.
It felt
He was
good.
almost like a mixture of, Doc Emmett Brown and Hunter S. Thompson. I think that was my direction to my costume designer.
So I think you already mentioned why. So I was a little curious as to why it was shot in English, but you did give a reason for that, in that it makes them into outsiders in this society.
Exactly.
But also why do it modern as opposed to a period piece, which you had done before?
Well, I mean, the answer is quite simple. Going period is very expensive. This was obviously a low budget film, but also creatively, I don't know if it would have been so interesting, because modern day Berlin has so many great set pieces, many crazy people there, and I think it makes it even more exciting to shoot it in modern times, make it contemporary.
And yeah, beyond that, a certain ease. One of the very tiny bits that I don't know why I enjoyed it so much is, like, every now and then he interacts with his phone a good deal. He's listening to music a lot. He's getting texts or phone calls, but every service that he summons is so functionally named. It's like blank.
Yes.
Oh, he wants a train. He uses train app. He wants a car. He uses car app. He needs to send cash. Oh, he uses that famous program that you can use, Cash App. And I just it was this sort of like hyper mundane.
Even the dildo app. He has a dildo
Oh yes,
app.
that's right. Yeah.
I was going to say that's almost a joke worth building.
It is a joke,
around.
and it's also a comment. It's a comment on our modern society. Are you familiar with the Alex Cox movie Repo Man?
Oh yes.
Very much.
All
Oh,
the
yeah,
products
Yep.
are named like this. So this was the inspiration.
Yes,
You buy
drinks, food,
beer,
beer.
drinks,
Yeah.
food. It gives it a sci-fi surrealistic aspect.
Yeah, I was saying it's so mundane that it turns the corner into bizarre. That everything he's looking at is just they've got an app for that.
Yeah. Also, the moment he taps on his car app, boom, the car arrives. The moment he taps on his train app, the train arrives. We did that on purpose, to amplify this is a dream.
It was a good touch there. Yeah.
So this story, it's very, it goes into some very, what I would consider dark territory, but in the sense of I think that Schnitzler's major theme is the idea of love and fidelity, and that there being this eternal tug of war between your desire for something new and your decision to stay with one partner. So they acknowledge that there is this desire to cheat very strongly and very, very firmly, and yet, as far as we can tell, they are both technically completely faithful to each other. What do you think Schnitzler was getting at with this story and this approach?
I actually think it's about being honest, and kind of getting out of your comfort zone, because actually what we are witnessing in the first 15 minutes of the movie, or the first, quarter of the book, is a couple that is being earnest and honest for the first time in a long time, when they actually confess the things that they are fantasizing about. And only after they accept that as a fact at the end of the movie or the book, they can climb the next level of their relationship. And everything is back in order because they are now being honest. And I think it's about not only loyalty, but also honesty.
Mm.
If you feel it, talk about it.
Yeah. So in a way, it ends up being kind of a very traditional kind of thing, but with honesty. It's not like an attack on the bourgeois institution of marriage.
No,
So
absolutely
much.
not.
Yeah, I think that's culminated for me anyway with Amelia's story dream speech that she tells her husband after his long night out on the town, and it goes on for quite a while, where she's at first loath to admit this subconscious sequence of events, but it's necessary for her, and indeed for her husband Jacob, to have that uncomfortable talk about something that certainly didn't happen, because she was lying there definitely dreaming while he was out in who knows what mixture of subconscious and reality there. And I think that emphasizes both yours and I guess Schnitzler's point about you can't train your mind to stay in a box, but you need to be able to discuss when it gets outside into areas that you and your partner, for instance, might not normally be comfortable talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely agree. So this is like this whole scene where she confesses. It's a pivotal moment in the movie, because it reflects and it mirrors the experiences that he had during the night. Maybe this implies that everything that he experienced is actually part of her dream, because how else could she know about it? Or is it that they are so connected that they feel each other's thoughts and dreams? But I let the audience decide on that.
Okay.
So there are different ways to read the message and to read the movie.
We have
Also how you read the book.
Yeah, that's all very good. It's a very, very literary approach to this movie. We are kind of running low on time. There are two questions we'd like to finish with, and the first is simply, what's next? What's the next project you're working on, or the next thing that's going on for Florian?
Well, I'm actually working on two genre movies. One gangster comedy set in the underbelly of Berlin, And I'm also working on a serial killer movie.
I did notice that some of your IMDb credits were more in the sort of horror realm. So
Yeah, true.
this was.
I don't see Dream Story or Traumnovelle really as a drama or anything. I see it really like as a thriller.
Mhm.
It's also how I read the book.
Mm.
We have all the good stuff in there. It is intellectual, it's intellectually challenging, but it's also, I think, entertaining. It looks entertaining, and we have some great music in there. We have some sex and some gore, so it ticks a few boxes of the genres,
Yeah.
Right.
Uh,
for people who enjoy genre movies.
It always left me curious what he was going to stumble into next. There was definitely something good to be said for any thriller. It's like, okay, what's going to happen to this guy? Because he's kind of asking for trouble.
Giles,
Well,
final question.
Oh, yes. We like to wrap up every 366 interview with this. What's your hometown, and can you recommend a restaurant there?
well, my hometown is Berlin,
Hmm.
and I think we have some of the best Asian restaurants in Europe here. So I think the fanciest place would be 893.
8, 9.
Giles is writing that down for a trip to Berlin. So
Yes, well, when you come, give me a call. You have my number. I'll show you around.
Wonderful.
excellent, and also some sex shops or something like that too.
Well, they are everywhere. It's
I was
Berlin.
going to say, Berlin seems to have anything anyone could want, right?
All right.
Correct.
We do have just a minute remaining, so we are going to sign off. Thank you so much, Florian Frerichs, for being here. And it is a very, as you say, it's both an intellectual and a genre movie. So I think it crosses a lot of borders and can have some good appeal to a lot of our listeners. So thank you very much for being here. Next week, we will have a guest also, Tom Lee Rudder of the Pocketbook of Superstitions, a British film, pseudo-documentary. Giles, we have less than a minute, so let's just say goodbye, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you
Goodbye,
very
and
much, Florian.
thanks for having me. Have a good week.
Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Weird. Yeah, I guess that is the word for it. Weird.